Welcome children, let us see 10th standard science, lesson number 3, thermal physics. Children, when we step out of the house, what do we see? We see the open sky and there is sun above us, right? So, sun is there. What do we feel when we are playing in the open sun, open ground, okay? So, when we are playing in the ground, we can feel the sun's heat, right? So, the heat, what we get from the sun. So, that is the topic of our this chapter, right? So, the heat from the sun. So, that is in other way it's called as thermal energy. So, sun is the prime source of thermal energy for all our living organism. Thermal energy is the cause and temperature is the effect. So, this can be easily understood from this statement. All living organisms need a particular temperature for their survival. So, without our body temperature, we cannot maintain ourselves, right? We need a hot climate. We can't go and live in the Iceland, right? So, we need to maintain our body temperature. So, when we talk about temperature, so we should know the definition of temperature. So, we have been learning the definition of temperature for so many years, right? From lower class till now. So, the general definition what we have learned till so far, so that is temperature is defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. So, that is a basic definition what we have learned so many years, right? Now, when we go in particular proper definition for temperature, we have to define it as it is a property which determines whether a body is in equilibrium or not with the surrounding. So, this is a correct definition. One more definition we can define as it is the average kinetic energy possessed by an object. Okay, so that is the another definition. Now, when we talk about temperature, we can say that there is a flow of heat energy from one end of an object to other end of the object. So, temperature is a property which determines the direction of flow of heat energy. So, temperature can spread in all the direction. Therefore, there is no need to measure any direction for it. So, we can call it as a scalar quantity. Now, when we talk about the unit in which we are going to measure temperature, generally we discuss about degree Celsius scale and degree Fahrenheit scale, and one more SI unit temperature is your Kelvin scale. Now, Kelvin scale is taken as the standard unit using which we measure the temperature, right? So, generally when we listen to the news, we have a section called weather forecast section. There they announce the temperature, okay, weather forecast. They tell what is the temperature of a particular city or many cities in the India, right? So, they discuss that in degree Celsius. Now, when we talk about our body temperature, we generally measure it in Fahrenheit scale, right? So, degree Fahrenheit. What are the relationship between the Kelvin scale, Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale? Now, we have studied this in previous years that Celsius scale and Kelvin scale, they are related by an equation called K is equal to C plus 273. From where have we got this relation? So, for that we need to understand all the three kinds of scale that we will discuss later. Now, one more relationship is there, Fahrenheit and Kelvin scale. K is equal to F plus 460 into 5 divided by 9. So, this relationship gives the connection between Kelvin and Fahrenheit. Now, apart from this, we have a general equation through which we can discuss all these three type of scales, right? So, you can see there the equation C divided by 100 is equal to F minus 32 by 180 is equal to K minus 273 by 100. So, this equation, if we by heart it, you can easily convert Celsius into Fahrenheit, Celsius into Kelvin or vice versa. So, all the three are interrelated in such a manner according to this equation. Now, just see the diagram. You can see there is 3 thermometer. The first one is your Kelvin scale, the second one is the Celsius scale and the third one is the Fahrenheit scale. You can see as our reference, when we talk about in general, we talk about in degrees Celsius. We all know that water boils at 100 degrees C. Okay, so according to the diagram, you can see in the center thermometer degree Celsius, your boiling point of water is given as 100 degrees C. And similarly, when you come down, you can see your freezing point of water is given as 0 degree C, right? So, we all know water freezes at 0 degree and water boils at 100 degree. The same corresponding temperatures, let us see for Kelvin scale as well as for Fahrenheit scale. You can see that for Kelvin scale, the 0 degree Celsius is corresponds to 273 Kelvin. So, that is the very important point we must remember. 0 degree Celsius is equal to 273 Kelvin. Okay, then you can see 100 degree C is equal to 373 Kelvin. Okay, now when we go to Fahrenheit scale, you can see that 0 degree Celsius corresponds to 32 degree F and 100 degree Celsius corresponds to 212 degree Fahrenheit. So, this is the temperature scale for boiling water and for a freezing point of water. So, all the three scales we have discussed. So, based on this discussion only, the equation C by 100 F minus 32 by 180 equal to K minus 273 by 100 is discussed. Now, you can see there is one more line, absolute zero line is there in the figure. Now, you can see there in Celsius scale that absolute 0 point corresponds to minus 273 degree C. So, your minus 273 degree C is the lowest point of the Celsius scale, which corresponds to 0 Kelvin. Now, we will discuss later what is this 0 Kelvin in the coming session. So, 0 Kelvin is equivalent to minus 273 degree Celsius and its corresponding Fahrenheit is minus 480 degree F. Based on this relationship, we have got this equation. Now, you can see from the diagram, you take the Celsius scale, 0 degree is there, right? C minus 0 degree divided by the boiling point, the freezing point and the boiling point we have to take. Now, C minus 0 divided by the boiling point 100 will be equal to F minus 32 divided by the difference between the 32 and the 212. When you subtract, it is 180 degree, then equal to, when you go for Kelvin scale, you can see K minus 273, the corresponding value for 0 degree, that is your freezing point is 273. So, K minus 273 divided by the boiling point is 373. When you subtract, you get 100. So, this is how we get the equation for all the three scales of temperature. So, from one, if you know one value, you can easily convert into other two values. Now, let us go for the next topic, that is absolute scale or Kelvin scale of temperature. Now, what is absolute scale or Kelvin scale of temperature? Now, temperature, when it is measured in relation to the absolute zero using a Kelvin scale, is known as absolute temperature. Now, it is also known as thermodynamic temperature. Now, what is this thermodynamic temperature? It can be again classified as, it is defined as the fraction of 1 by 273.16 part of the thermodynamic temperature of triple point of water. Now, what is this 1 by 273.16 part of thermodynamic temperature? To understand this, we need to know what is called as absolute zero. Now, what is absolute zero? Absolute zero or 0 Kelvin, it is called as 0 Kelvin or absolute zero. It is the temperature at which the molecules of any substance, they will have their lowest possible energy. So, that is called as absolute zero. So, it has the lowest possible energy in this state, right? Now, when we talk about the triple point of water, what is the triple point of water? You can see here solid, liquid and gas, all the three phase of water, it can coexist. That is, all the three phase can exist in equilibrium. Equilibrium means all three are there at this particular point of temperature, that is 273.16 Kelvin. So, this temperature is taken for calculating thermodynamic temperature. So, that is the fraction 1 bar 273.16 Kelvin. So, that is taken as thermodynamic temperature. Now, how do we get this absolute zero? So, for this, already in lower classes we have discussed, whenever we have at particular temperature, you try to control the pressure and volume. Okay, so at a particular temperature, when you try to reduce the pressure and volume to zero, okay, so that particular point is called as absolute zero. So at a particular temperature, when I can attain the pressure and volume of a gas as zero, then it is called as absolute zero. Now, keeping this in mind, when we describe what is absolute scale, so absolute scale is nothing but when you have absolute zero, based upon absolute zero, when you calculate the temperature of some other substance, it's called as Kelvin scale of temperature. Let us see what is thermal equilibrium. Now, when we have discussed about the three scales, now what is the purpose of discussing temperature, right? So, when we talk about temperature, automatically we have to talk about heat energy, and that's called as thermal energy. See, another name for heat energy is called as thermal energy. Now, before going to thermal energy, generally when we touch a hot cup of tea, so what do we feel on our hand? We feel the hotness of the cup. Suppose it is a metal container. If you touch it, your hand will be, you feel hot, right? So, that is the heat energy is transferred from that hot object to your body. Whenever you touch a cold object, suppose you touch an ice cube, immediately you feel the chillness in your body, right? So, that means what? Your body is transferring heat to the ice cube. That is why the ice cube is melting and you are able to feel the chillness of your body. So, your heat is going out and your body is getting heat energy. So, there is transfer of heat energy, right? So, that is called as transfer of thermal energy. Now, based upon this, let us see what is thermal equilibrium. Now, when you just touch your two hands, there is no change in temperature. So, when you rub it, you can feel there is some heat energy produced, right? So, when you are not touching anything, we are not rubbing, you are just two hands, there is no change in temperature. That means what? Your hands are in equilibrium. Suppose you touch a book, some other book, you are in a room and there is a room temperature, right? Your body is according to the room temperature, and your body has a synchronized between your room temperature and yourself, right? So, when you touch any book or any other wooden material, you feel the same, there is no change in temperature. Suppose you touch a metal piece which is there outside in the sunlight, you can feel there is, it is very hot, right? So, there is some transfer of heat in your body, you feel it is hot. So, when there is no change or there is no transfer of heat energy, there is no flow of heat energy from one object to another object, then it is called as thermal equilibrium. So, you can define thermal equilibrium as when two or more physical system or bodies are said to be in thermal equilibrium if there is no net flow of thermal energy between the systems. So, this is the definition of thermal equilibrium. Now, based on this, we will discuss what is thermal energy. So, when we transfer this heat energy from one object to another object, because there is some difference in temperature, then it is called as thermal energy. So, the transformation of heat energy from one object to another object based upon their temperature differences between them is called as thermal energy. Now, it is simply called as heat also, okay. A higher level we call as thermal energy, and simply it is called as heat. Now, heat is generally measured in terms of joules. So, any object, it will either absorb or either it will evolve or give out the heat. SI unit is called as joules, okay. Now, apart from joules, we have two more units through which we calculate the heat energy. So, they are called as calories and kilocalories. In general, I can define joule first. Let me define joule first. So, joules can be defined as amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of a given mass by 1 degree. It is a general definition. There are a lot of definition for joules. It differs according to electricity, like that. But here we are discussing based upon heat energy. So, generally we use joules, and further in specific we use calories and then kilocalories. Now, when we talk about calories, 1 calorie is defined as the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water through 1 degree Celsius. So, this is very important, 1 gram and 1 degree of what substance? Water. So, when I want to raise the temperature of water by 1 degree Celsius, then I can call it as calories. If I am going to take it as kilogram, 1 kilogram of water, if I want to raise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, whatever heat I give, that is called as 1 calories. Now, next topic called heating. Now, when we talk about all this thermal energy, thermal equilibrium, there is some transfer of heat, right? This transfer of heat is called as heating. So, everyone are aware of this heating, right? Every day in our day-to-day life, we keep on heating lot of things in our kitchen, right? So, everything is based upon heating, or cooking is the best place where you can realize what is heating, how heat is transferred from one object to other, right? So, what is heating? Heating is the process in which heat energy flows from a body at a higher temperature to another body at a lower temperature, that is called as heating. So, this also we have studied in lower class. Now, how heat transfers? Okay, so heat transformation, the basic three concepts in heat transformation are conduction, convection and radiation. Now, what is conduction? Conduction is transformation of heat from one solid object to another solid object. So, that is called as conduction. And next, convection. Convection generally takes place in fluid, and here also conduction of heat energy from a fluid at higher temperature to a fluid at lower temperature. It gets transferred in that form. And the third one is the radiation. And radiation, thermal energy gets transferred from one object to another object. For radiation, we don't need any medium. It can get transferred in any space. Even in vacuum also it gets transferred. But for conduction and convection, we definitely need a medium. Without medium, we cannot do convection and conduction. So, that's very, very important. Next, we can see what are the characteristic features. So, when I transfer heat from one object to another object, what is the characteristic feature we need to remember? Okay, so there are three important points that we have to keep in mind. The first one is always heat flows from a system of higher temperature to a system of lower temperature. That means what? From a hotter object, I have to transfer the heat to a lower object. So, the heat gets transferred from a object which is hot to an object which is cold. Now, the second point is whenever I heat, there is no change in mass. The object doesn't change in mass. The mass of the system remains the same. Okay, so it is not altered. So, heated or cooled, the mass of the system is not altered. And the third point, whenever there is exchange of heat, whatever heat is gained by one object is equal to the heat lost by the other object. Sum up into an equation like heat gained is equal to heat lost. Now, when I call heat gained is equal to heat lost means what? Whatever heat is released by the object, one object, is absorbed by the other object. So, both should be equal. So, this is the law of nature, no? Conservation of energy. So, no energy is wasted, right? So, energy can, we all know the general conservation theorem, no? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It has to be transferred from one form to the other form. So, therefore, heat energy gained is equal to heat energy lost. So, we have already studied an equation in 9th standard. Heat energy is Q is equal to mc delta T, where m is the mass, C is the specific heat capacity and delta T is the change in the temperature. Now, let us see what are the effects of this heat energy. Now, till now we discussed what are the different characteristics for heat energy, right? Now, when we heat an object, what do we feel, right? What do we see when we heat something, right? When we heat something, the first thing we see is that temperature of the object gets increased. When you are heating any object, the temperature of the object gets increased. So, increase in temperature is observed. And when we heat something, suppose solid, liquid or gas, when you are heating liquid, what happens? Its state gets changed, okay? Change of state happens. So, whenever I heat a solid or liquid or gas, first thing is the temperature increases. The second thing is there is a change of state taking place. We know there are three states, right? Solid, liquid and gases. When we heat a solid, it gets melted into liquid, right? When we heat a liquid, it gets converted into gas. So, there is a change of state observed, right? So, when there is a change of state observed, there is also one more term related with that, that is called as expansion. Now, in general, when you see in your kitchen, when you cook rice, you put the rice in the hot water, right? So, boiling water increases the size of your food item, right? Your rice gets swollen up. So, this is the best example to show the expansion. So, when you heat any substance, it is always associated with expansion of the substance, right? So, that's the best example is in your kitchen. So, every day-to-day life you can see that, right? Now, so based upon this, we can conclude that whenever heat is there, there is an increase in temperature, there is an exchange in state, and there is expansion. So, based upon this, now let us see what are the different types of expansion we can find out, right? So, first when we talk about solid, we can see that solid object has a perfect shape. No, we have studied the difference between solid, liquid and gases in all the classes, right? So, we know solid has a definite shape and size. So, when I heat a solid which has all the three dimensions, no, length, breadth, height. So, you can specifically say about the length, breadth and height. So, when I heat a solid, I can experience the expansion of the solid in all the three directions. So, it is the length, breadth and the height. So, all the three axes there is expansion noticed. Okay. So, when I talk about only one dimensional expansion, then I can call it as linear expansion. Now, when I talk about two axes, I can call it as areal expansion, and when I talk about three dimensional, it is called as volume expansion. Okay. So, what is this expansion? So, this expansion is nothing but increase in the length or area or volume when you compare with the original length, area or volume of the object. So, based upon this, we have divided expansion of solid into three parts called as linear, areal and cubical expansion, right? Now, when you expand anything, what happens? The heat energy enters into the object, right? So, what are present inside the object? All the objects are made up of atoms, molecules in them, right? So, what happens? The kinetic energy related with these atoms get disturbed. So, they get increased. Okay. So, because of this increase in their kinetic energy, the molecules start vibrating. They want to go little far away from each other. That's why they try to expand. Okay. So, that is the main reason for expansion of a solid. So, the expansion of the solid depends upon the heat energy what we are giving. So, heat energy helps in the expansion of the solid. Now, when I talk about expansion of solid, first one, the linear expansion. So, suppose the object whatever we are heating, it increases in the length. Suppose you take a metal rod. So, let the length be L. Suppose I give a heat, that means what? I give heat, therefore, the temperature will change. So, initial temperature is T, the final temperature is T1 something. So, when I make the difference of two temperature, I call them as delta T. The initial temperature is T1, the final temperature is T2. That is, I have heated the rod from T1 to T2. Therefore, my total increase in heat is nothing but the difference in the temperature. So, when I give the delta T temperature, the length of the rod what I have taken initially is L, and it gets expanded to little more, it gets expanded. So, there is a new length. So, the new length, when you find out what is the expansion, when you find when you divide the new length and the original length, there is a small increase in that length. That length is called as delta L. So, the initial length L1 and L2, when you subtract both of them, you get a small change, increase in length, that is called as delta L. So, there is small increase in the length delta L, right. So, this delta L is the expansion due to the heat energy given in terms of temperature. Now, how do I sum all this reaction? I can easy way is I can put everything in form of a equation. Now, how to write the equation? So, what has happened there? There is the increase in length divided by the original length. Original length you take as L naught. So, delta L by L naught, it is proportional to what? It is depending upon what? The change in temperature. So, delta L by L naught is proportional to delta T. So, this is the condition we arrive from this experiment, right. So, when there is a small increase delta L divided by the original length delta naught, it is proportional to delta T. That is, the change in the length depends upon the temperature. So, when I remove the proportionality symbol, I have to add a coefficient. Okay, we have to remove the proportionality symbol and add a term called as coefficient of thermal expansion. Now, since it is linear expansion, I call it as coefficient of linear expansion, and I give the symbol as alpha L. So, delta L by L naught is equal to alpha L into delta T. So, this is the equation for our linear expansion. Now, from this equation, my delta L is the increase in the length, and I have to define what is my alpha L. So, this alpha L will be different for different elements. So, we have to define what is this alpha L. Now, alpha L will be nothing but the coefficient of linear expansion is nothing but the ratio of increase in the length divided by the temperature. So, that is called as coefficient of linear expansion, and its unit is given as Kelvin minus 1, because the length, the dimension gets cancelled and you have only the unit as Kelvin minus 1 or Kelvin inverse. So, let us see about the areal and cubical expansion in our next session. Today we have discussed about the thermal energy, temperature and its different scale, and we have discussed about important equation like C divided by 100 is equal to F minus 32 by 180 is equal to K minus 273 divided by 100. And let us now see a few evaluation section. Now, first one is define 1 calorie. So, the 1 calorie you can define it as the amount of heat energy to be supplied to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Next question, let us see, there is a small diagram. You can see there is 3 colors and 3 different temperatures are there, and you have to see which is the highest temperature. From the highest temperature, the heat will be flowing to the lowest temperature. So, there are 2 temperature which is in the lower form. So, from the higher temperature, it will flow to the lower temperature. So, you can easily calculate what is the direction of heat flow from the second question. Now, third question, it is a hot question. If you keep an ice on at a 0 degree or water at 0 degree in either of your hand, which will you feel more chillness? So, here the ice will be more chill because the internal energy for ice will be more than water. That is why you will feel more chillness in your hand for ice than water. So, like this questions will be asked from this lesson. So, keep revising the lessons, all the lines, all the every single line is very important. You have to learn for 1 marks, for 2 marks, 4 marks and 7 marks. So, keep revising, underline all the important points, and all the best, children.